yeah, it was a perfect idea. And yeah, I don't know. I think for us as a brand, we're going to continue making our rad stuff, but I think there's always opportunity to try new things.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the eSkate Chat podcast with Evolve.
Are we going to use the technology from what's on the Hayden series?
It's changing that whole final drive ratio.
Surfing this endless wave through Tokyo.
Electric skateboarding is like breaking through.
Every time I wanted to drink, I would step on this board.
Heard somebody say Hayden.
100%.
We'd love to build our own specialized eSkate track. I mean, the amount of thought that went into that.
I want to talk about how it affected the riders.
So I went skating with Tony Hawk.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Really?
There's a whole new product line.
I've done things I never thought I'd be able to do because of electric skateboarding.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the final eSkate Chat podcast of the year. We're wrapping up the year that was 2022. How have you been feeling coming to the end of the year?
I'm feeling pretty positive, to be honest. The year has ended well. It's been a long year, but at the same time, it feels like it's gone by so quickly. Like, so much has happened, and it's never a dull moment at Evolve Skateboards. So yeah, lots happened. Are we going to recap on some of the things?
Yeah. I feel, because it was about 12 months ago that, especially in Australia, COVID sort of started going away.
Yeah.
So this is our first year
It's
clean.
True. This time last year, 12 months ago, there were lockdowns still happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just jump into it. Some of the biggest things that happened in 2022, of course, probably the release of the Series 2.
Yeah. In terms of product, we've done a few different products, but I think the biggest one is the GTR Series 1 discontinuing, and then it's moving over to the Haydian's little brother or little sister, however you want to call it.
I'm going with little brother.
Little brother.
Brother. I guess we've been making boards a long time. It's sort of been over a decade now, and if you add them all up, it's something like, I don't know, 12, 15 different board models over the years. So it's not really a new process for you to bring a board out to the public. What was the experience like with the Series 2 GTR and Stokes?
Yeah, I think the Series 2 was probably our smoothest transition, to be honest. Because it's, it is a completely different product to the Series 1, but we did all the heavy lifting through the Haydian launch. And the Haydian launch, that took us a couple of years. So much change happened there in terms of motor controller design, electronics, all the firmware, the BMS firmware, the SoC, all the control algorithm for the motor controller. So much time and effort and refining went into that, and it was a relentless process. And that was just on the electronics. We had all the mechanical design as well, making sure that all works. But so much work went into the Haydian series, and we knew that all we wanted to do is, with the GTR, is we wanted to make a board that works really well, that's still relatively affordable, and we just wanted to convert that into the same electronic setup. Aside from the voltage is down a little bit, but the Series 2 was a pretty smooth process for us. All the heavy lifting was done in the Haydian series. We used pretty much the same control algorithm, the motor controller, into what the GTR is now. The motor control shape changed a little bit. There were some adjustments where, how it connects together from the battery to the motor controller. We designed a new motor controller casing for it. There are a few changes done to the battery and the way it connects together and the BMS. But it was pretty straightforward. And for the fact that we could pretty much use the same firmware as what's in the Haydian with some minor tweaks, it saved us a lot of time. Most of the work really went into the deck design, the motor controller, casings. We wanted to get a nice, can be very similar genetics to what the GTR ones, but just some refinements, and obviously the big motors, and the phase was a huge one. All that work happened during the Haydian series. So again, all the remote firmware was we could sort of roll straight over onto this Series 2. So it was a smooth process. Been really stoked to how the performance and feedback has gone for the GTR. So compared to other board releases, so we've been releasing many boards for many years now, and our company started out a lot smaller back then, and over the years we've learned a lot, dealing with customers, the process, and there's releasing a product. There's a lot of responsibility and there's a lot of accountability getting something to market. Once it leaves your shop for the first time, you got to make sure it's right, and back in the early days when Evolve started, our orders and process was a lot simpler. We had less people, and we were learning on the fly. We were learning as we were doing the job. So comparing from years ago until now, we are way more detailed with every single facet of our business when it comes to launching a product. It's not just the tools and the firmware and the electronic and test riding and then having like a big document, making sure every box is ticked and having protocols that we have to meet along the way. This is how detailed it is now. And then that also flows on to our marketing team, our finance team, our logistics, the website. There's so many things involved. So it's changed a lot, and we're way more precise and more detailed, and we have more responsibility now in terms of and accountability when it comes to bringing out a product. It's got to be right. So I've learned that along the way.
Yeah, and I definitely felt that vibe myself. We're obviously always confident in our products when we're going out with them, but when you're selling thousands of them to new people and it's a new system, you're always like trying to be like, all right, like, is this going to stack up to everything that we know and we've tested?
Yeah.
But there was so much confidence behind the Series 2 because, we pretty much had the electronics, the firmware out there with the Haiti, and we had the hardware out there with the existing GTR.
Yeah.
So there was just like so much confidence in that, and we were just waiting for people to realize how good of a thing this was.
Yeah, and it was also, adding to what you just said, that last sentence, also there's always an element of like, okay, you make something and the messaging that we need to give people about why we've done this product. Some people think, this is going to be like a Haitian killer. There's always a reason why we do something, and so managing those expectations of our mindset of what the product is and where it sits in terms of our customer, and so that's something that that I noticed with the GTR Series 2. There were some people thought, it should be this, it should be bigger and better, but we've already got that. That's the Haitian. We weren't trying to do something that was going to like destroy our Haitian. That's a seriously performing board. This is a rad board that works and it does its thing, and managing that expectation is that's what I noticed with this product release as well. It was something we had to sort of refine.
Yeah, expectations and just what the product is designed for, what it is. I know people with Haitians that have gone out and bought the GTR 2. Like, it's not like you need to have the biggest, most powerful thing. There's guys that went out and got that and they're like, man, it's so whippy. Like, you can throw it around. It's light. I can pick it up. They have that use. And then likewise, I've had friends want to buy boards for this Christmas, and the majority of them, I'm sending them to the GTR, not the Haitian. I'm like, honestly, you're probably not going to need it because I know this is going in your garage and you'll ride it, every second weekend. Like, the GTR is going to be freaking awesome for what you're looking at.
It's interesting to say that. Like, I've got a little man cave at home, and I've got 4 boards in there, and one of them is the Haitian Carbon, and it's like, it's the unhandcuffed version of the of the Haitian series, like it's a serious weapon of a thing, and I don't use that as much. My go-to is the Carbon GTR, and it's just because it's so much lighter and it works, and I don't always ride that craziness. I can just get on and cruise and carve, and I can do that with the Hayden as well. Don't get me wrong, it's great for that. So it's just, each board has a time and a place.
On the Christmas group ride, I love going on group rides and like sort of carving it up pretty well.
You like showing off, mate. Come on.
Showing off, but I like showing people that there's different ways to ride, because suddenly people look at you and they're like, I'm going to do that. And they do. I went to get my Haiti and I forgot to charge it. So I just grabbed the GTR Carbon.
Yeah.
And that's
the demo board.
Yeah, the demo board. I haven't done an actual group ride on a GTR since the Haitian came out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because you're a big unit of a dude and you need that extra power, but you haven't been right. You've always been on the Haitian.
Yeah, well, I assumed I needed that. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Like I did 18 kilometers, still had battery left. I was riding on grass. I was flicking it out, doing everything that I would have done. And there was people there on Haitians or high-powered boards that weren't riding like that.
Yeah.
So, man, it's still got such a high ceiling that you can ride it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things about the Series 2 is compared to the Series 1, obviously that style of riding that you're talking about with the older electronic setup, you do have limitations there. You know, there's performance ceilings. The good thing about this now is that we've given more and it can handle a lot more, and it just, you know, those limitations pretty much sort of disappear on it. So I think that's one of my greatest feelings about riding that board is pretty much that. Smooth, quiet. It's a Hayden, really. It's just a less compact version.
Moving right along, and we only released this like a couple weeks ago. We did a collaboration with Loaded Boards. Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh, yeah, right. I know the guys at Loaded. I've known them since 2011. We've been using their wheels. We made a drive gear specifically for their Kegel wheel many moons ago. And it was an interchangeable drive gear, slotted straight into it, the gear bearing in the back, and then we had an adjusted sort of hanger on the axle. And so I was hitting those guys up, and this is when also they were working directly with boosted boards. So I've known them since the early days, seen them at trade shows. I've been, you know, closely friends with those guys. We've had many beers and we've been, you know, we've always sort of talked about, you know, what could a collaboration look like over the last sort of 10 years. And I thought it was a good time to just say, hey, look, we've been using all the wheels. I just brought out the Dad Bod wheels, which is a sick 105 wheel if anyone hasn't used it yet. Have a go. Performs well.
I'm seeing them appear on a lot of boards.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting tagged in stories and it's like, oh, everyone's trying these.
Yeah. They're a great wheel. They carve really well. They grip and they feel nice. So if you haven't had a go, definitely try them. It's like, see, now that we've got the Series 2 Stoked set up, it is such a great board. Like, I love the Stoked Series 2 so much. Like, it still uses the old GTR 1 motor, the smaller 50mm motors. And then that whole compact battery case, and it's got the FOC controller. That electronic system paired with the new phase, it's a match made in heaven. And you don't need a 63mm motor on that Stoke setup. It's still so punchy and so smooth and so quiet. And it was like, man, we can put this electric setup on pretty much any deck because it's so small and so compact. And we've got a number of their boards. I just, you know, reached out to Don Pablo and I was like, guys, you know, what do you think about this? Like, we're wanting to fire different bullets, test new things, and see what works, see what our customers want. It's not all about high performance and, you know, how fast it goes. It's about the ride, and we can't lose our grassroots. You know, that's where Evolve started. It was always about building, you know, nice quality urethane boards that was designed for street and carving, and I wanted to make sure that you know, we continue that and try other stuff. And so those guys reached out. They suggested, we've got this rad deck, it'll work perfectly with the Stoke, and and I was thinking maybe the Tesseract, and then they said, no, the Omikaze, this would be perfect. It's designed specifically for electrics. It's got nice concaves, and they sent it over, and we bolted it straight on. We drilled out the template, put it on, and man, it was great. Great feet lock in perfectly, tiny little bit longer than what the Stoke is. And as soon as we rode it, we were like, yeah, this is good. Let's get a small amount, and let's try a limited edition run and see what people want, see what people think, rather than making an AT boards that's for a different genre. We're going to more of like a traditional style skateboard and potentially appealing to a different type of rider. And feedback was fantastic. They disappeared off our website really quickly, faster than we thought they were going to. And we know there's a big following with Loaded, and I think it's a great thing for our brand to be certainly trying to partner with other like-minded brands. And these guys are so focused on quality and detail in terms of, and very technical designs. Their decks are so thought out, and when you first look at it, you don't realise, but until you ride it. So yeah, it was a perfect idea, and yeah, I don't know. I think for us as a brand, we're going to continue making our rad stuff, but I think there's always opportunity to try new things and to test the waters with collabs like this. So maybe we'll do more of them.
Yeah, I think so. The guys at Loaded are awesome because they sort of mirror us in their riders making stuff for riders.
It's so true.
Like,
they love to ride. And
I think one of their mottos is we make what we want to skate. That's how it started for them years and years ago. They made decks that they thought were the right thing.
They're crazy scientists. That's how I can say it. Like, these guys are so cool. Similar age to me as well, and they really know their stuff, and they're passionate about what they do.
Yeah, and the Omikaze Stoke board came out. It's not a big range board, doesn't have all-terrain wheels, and it sold out in 72 hours. So people want it. Like, it's definitely a sort of gap that we need to look at. It's something that you can pick up, you can have fun on. It's still got enough range to do the majority of, get out and clear your head, get to the shops, get to work, get to the bus, park and get to work. Whatever it is, it's a great board for that. And obviously people agreed. So
I think it'd be interesting to, maybe up the performance a little bit in terms of ride times, but without changing any of the structure. So I think that could be a benefit if we ever to do something like that again.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves range, so you can't go wrong with that. You just got to balance how big the thing is. Yeah, because that's the highlight of what a board like that is representing to people.
Yeah, definitely. And you got to keep the genetics of a normal sort of traditional skateboard without overpacking it with it too much, and then it'll lose the beautiful aesthetics. And that's why the Stoke setup on it is so compact. It works so well on that. Just a little bit more would be good.
Jumping away from products, we've had some pretty big changes over in the USA.
Oh, yes, we have. Yep. So for those that who are over in the US, our factory and facility used to be at Carlsbad. That lease finally came to an end, and moving. Everyone knows, when you have to move a house, it's hard. You've got to plan well in advance. You've got to start looking, then you've got to renegotiate, and then you've got to move. This is very much like what moving a business is like. So took a fair while. We were planning out sort of 8 months in advance. I went over to USA a few times and looked at a variety of different locations. And finally we found something. We're now downtown Oceanside, right near Mission Ave, right in amongst it. We're super close to the beach. And it's a pretty cool place. There's we've got a showroom out the front, still work in progress. We're not quite finished yet. But then we've got the warehouse at the back, and then there's like a cool little loft hangar up the top where we've got extra storage and a couple offices. So we only moved a couple of months ago, and it was obviously at a time where we're moving into sort of Black Friday, and so we had some business changes. And we've sort of divided a few things, and then we had to get out and clean the other place and move to the new place, and so some challenges with that. Bit of a stressful time moving, but we're there, and it's a rad spot, and there's so many riding opportunities there. You know, that main sort of footpath there, there's rad surf close by, very touristy area as well. So we're hoping to get more through traffic through there. I think the showroom, we've got all our display cabinets out the back. We still need to cut a hole in the wall to divide the front of house with the back of house, and then we've got a change room to build, which won't take long, and then the display cabinets can go out, and then we can start. So I'm hoping come Feb we can start getting people come through, and those customers who used to come out to our Carlsbad facility can come visit us there now, and it's still the same process. Face-to-face service. You can come buy parts. You can bring your board in for after-sales service. It's the same team, same happy smiles. It's just in a different, cooler environment rather than like a business park. We're more of like a retail warehouse.
Yeah, and it's bigger and better in terms of the shop front. It's going to be a super cool experience.
Yeah.
Location-wise, it's awesome. I feel like I'm just like an Australian freaking out, but it's the California palm trees. It's next to the beach. It's a freaking vibe.
Yeah.
And just, skating along there, just hanging out around sunset time. It's a cool place.
Yeah, it's like, isn't that show over in America? What's it called? Animal Kingdom? Is it? Yeah.
It's like the setup of a lot of movies.
Pretty much. Yeah. And the team is really stoked too, because before where we were at Carlsbad, this industrial park on top of this big hill, there's not a lot happening out there. But where they're at now, lunchtime, they've got endless opportunities. There's like cool breweries, there's like so many sort of Mexican places, and the food is amazing. The burritos there are rad. There's so many little coffee shops and, place afternoon beers. So the guys are stoked. They'll be more stoked once it's finished.
Yeah, once it's finished. And once we get that showroom sorted, we want to, I guess, use it as a bit of a hub for like the eSkate community in the area. We do a really good job of that in London. Yeah. Like people meet at the shop, they go charge there. There's a brewery next door. They eat there. They hang out for hours. I think we can definitely do that at this Oceanside location. Yeah. So once it's complete, we'll start doing probably monthly group rides out of there. Yeah. And that's something we're trying to put into what does 2023 look like in terms of Evolve and community
events and stuff.
It is a lot more monthly rides, regular things, because there's so often we get messages like, oh shit, I didn't know that ride was on. Yeah. We'll get them all in the calendar, lay them out. There'll be dozens and dozens of rides.
Yeah. How's everyone going to find that information?
So it's going to be on the Facebook page if you go to the events tab. Yeah. There's also, if you go on our website, in the more info section, there's an events tab. That's all in there.
Got it, yeah.
And then every single one gets emailed and texted out as well, depending on your location. So if you're in 100 miles of Carlsbad, San Diego, whatever, you'll get that message saying, hey, there's a ride on this week. Come along.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, and once you, each ride is going to be sort of attached to a community ambassador. If it's not us running it at our shop, and then that's attached to one of the riders groups. So if we look at, say, Denver or Colorado City, where Colorado Caddy is. He's got an electric skate group called Charge. And then it's all pushed through the Charge group as well as Evolve, as well as everything. So you shouldn't miss it. You just need to keep an eye out.
Yeah, just got to keep in touch.
We're trying to sort it out that it's the same time every month. And it's the same time for every city around the world. So not 100% sure. I'm thinking first Friday of the month or last Saturday of the month, something along those lines. Yeah. So people can put it in the calendar and they know.
Isn't that a thing at the moment, the last sort of 12 months, is it?
Yeah, it's
over in the US. The groups over there. Is it first Friday or is it last Friday?
I'm not sure. It's definitely a Friday. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah.
But in the sort of North California float cruise, the one wheel communities, they're doing a pretty good job of getting a community together.
Yeah.
It happens every week, but it's that one a month where everyone knows this is a big one.
Yeah.
And they turn out, speakers on, lights on, like really cool vibe, really good community time. There's kids, there's adults, there's everyone, obviously not competitive at all.
Yeah,
like
it's just fun. This is what it's about, right?
And it's like I attended one a couple months ago in San Francisco, and it was different to how we do it. They'll ride for 2 or 3 kilometers, they'll stop, and they'll just be there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Blasting music, it's crazy. Everyone's looking at them, and then they take off. So it's almost like a spectacle, a parade.
Yeah.
Then they end at a bar, and they're just sort of riding around and chilling and sitting down, get some food.
Cool.
And then at the end, like a small group of them will just keep going all night.
Yeah,
won't
right.
stop.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
So what about this year? Like, we've done quite a few events out there. Like, how many do you reckon we've been doing?
I added them up. It was just shy of 50 events.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's everything from trade shows and expos like Fully Charged, Electrify Expo, to community group rides. We did the Summer Days series, which was monthly rides. We did 2 a month in the UK, go-kart tracks, BMX tracks. We did a few.
Yeah.
We held the Australian Open. Like, there's a lot to unpack, but it worked out at almost a weekly event.
Yeah, it's busy. It's not easy trying to, keep momentum going and think of new things to do.
No, and I think it's such a big part of what makes Evolve.
Yeah.
Because we are riders.
Yeah.
And we are doing this for riders. We don't need to. And almost no other brand does it. And no one does that many. So I think that's a huge reason Evolve still have a community. And of course, all the other brands are coming, and we're getting scooters and unicycles.
That's it. We're open.
We love the community. That's the grassroots where we started, and we need to continue it into 23.
Yeah, I'm spewing. I missed the Christmas one.
First one you've missed.
Yeah,
it must be what,
first
6,
ride 7,
I missed for 8 years.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah, I was on a break. I was with the fam over in Thailand. Haven't been there before. It was the first time, and I saw all the footage, and it was a new location for us on the Gold Coast. Anyway, we don't normally host events down in the sort of Spit area, and got to do it again, right?
100%. I've been talking to some of our local ambassadors about this monthly idea.
Yeah.
I've spoken to all of our ambassadors actually, and what we will be doing is putting out a call out to new people in the community that want to become an Evolve community ambassador. If you are sort of a figure in an eSkate group in a city and you're organising rides, we want to work with you, we want to support you, and we want to get more people to the ride, and we want to do prizes and help foster communities, especially in towns and cities where we don't have anyone yet.
Yeah.
So reach out to us, collabs@evolveskateboards.com, and let's work together in 2023.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. So what's next for 2023? We're 2 weeks out. Big year ahead.
Okay, so obviously these community rides are going to be a big thing. I think one of the highlights, one of the best events for me was the Sydney go-kart track from 2022.
Yeah, Entertainment Park.
I would love to see some more of them.
Yeah. We got to find some new locations. If there's any businesses out there, or anyone who's got connections with certain businesses that are like that, send it through, because it's not easy trying to negotiate new places like this. We got to tell them that it's all good. We're a professional company, and it's always a well-oiled machine. Got any contacts like that? Send it through too.
Yeah, go-kart tracks, cycling tracks, BMX tracks, anywhere that we can sort of as a business facilitate eSkate riders going to. Because, insurances and all those sort of things that you can't just rock up as a random e-skater from the public. If we can work with that business to allow people to go there legitimately, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to host an event at some stage where, and I've been talking about this for a while, where it's like a mixture of terrain. A short track, doesn't have to be too long, or it could be, but it's like a cross-country style event where, you've got some dirt, and then you've got some sort of tree lines, and then there's some humps, and then there's a berm in between in a beautiful location. I've got this dream. I could just picture it, and I keep, thinking New Zealand, Rotorua, that style, the tracks. You've got the beautiful old school rainforest style trees, and then that'd be a really cool race. I could just picture it, everyone going nuts, and it's not always about like that. It's like you've got your straight sections of grass, and then it hits dirt, and then weaving in and out. I reckon you could host a pretty cool event and something like that. Just don't know where. We'd have to build something, or if someone has a private property who'd be interested.
Yeah, you could get away with like an existing track and then building modifications. Yeah. I think would be the way to go.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. I'd love to see, because eSkate racing is always like laps around a go-kart track or a BMX track. It tends to be it, or just around cones, and it's short tracks.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a race that takes, point A to point B, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like, so you have time to stuff up, but it's about consistency and lines, and like that's never really been done in the eSkate world. Could be very cool.
We did something like this in France back in, it was 2017, and William, our French distributor, they're so good at hosting community-style events, and he does such a great job. And it was the Evolve Riders World Cup was in Paris, and we stayed in this this sort of park area where there were different cabins, and there was a lake there, and we did this like orientation course, and we were going from checkpoint to checkpoint to checkpoint. That was really fun, and you're in groups, and it was quite challenging, and it made you do cross country and going up hills and that. I'm just thinking out loud here, hosting events where it's a mixture of sort of styles rather than just always hardcore racing is a good thing. I think
potentially like an eSkate festival of sorts could give you the room to do multiple of those things. Yeah, because there's been ideas thrown around like that for a while. One of them was almost like a GPS chase, where there's apps where someone can be like it, and then they're running away from you, and you have to go like chase them via GPS all around a city to get a tag off them.
That's pretty cool.
It's so out of the box, but it'd be a laugh.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea, actually.
So who knows?
Just as long as you've got whoever's like escaping, they don't have this ridiculous high-power board that.
Oh, but then you trap them. You get people to go up this block and this block.
Yeah, I think in Gold Coast would be a great city to do that. I think. Yeah,
it could be fun, or just out in the forest somewhere. There was the Surrey Hills Forest. Yeah, just had crisscrossing tracks everywhere. Oh right. I don't know, endless opportunities to do cool stuff. We'll make it happen. We'll make something happen.
That's it. 2023, new year about to start. We've got a lot of things in the pipeline. We've got business goals at Evolve here. We're really wanting to refine some of our processes, business efficiencies. We want to have a lot of fun in what we do. That's important. We want to ride more, and we're continuing to innovate. We're trying to make the product better, and new accessories. Got a few new things that we're working on.
Yeah, that's been something we sort of was on our goals list for 2022, and we did a pretty good job of
quite a few things came out. Ice wheels was one.
Yep, the translucent 97 mils.
The apparel was a big one.
Full flannels. You got the hat on.
Yeah. Shorts, socks. So many shirts.
The gloves have been very popular. It's a bit of a no-brainer for e-skaters. Protection, a little bit of warmth. We've done pretty well with the gloves. A lot of people went for them. Yeah. We did a rider's jacket, a full-on what else? We've done custom valve caps.
custom valve caps, grip tape cleaner, the new bearings.
Yeah, we brought out just the little things to help people maintain their boards,
Yep.
grease, bearing lubricant, grip tape cleaner. There was, we've brought out different hub colors and stuff like that as well. So customization of the boards.
Phase remote for GTR.
That was a big one.
Customers.
Yeah, like I understand that took a while, but once that hit, we allowed all those Series 1 GTR and Stoke riders to upgrade, and they did.
And we never had any out of stock periods.
Yes, that's a
and
big one.
we've still got plenty of remotes. So you want one, you can get it.
Yeah.
Fast.
So I think more of that, like more of those little bits and pieces, just to help people along with making their eSkate journey more fun, more custom, or more practical.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for the next 18 months ahead. Yeah, a lot of things in the pipeline. So looking forward to seeing, the brand direction.
Yeah. And before we finish, I got to mention, we got just a couple days left of our Boxing Day sale.
Yeah.
So you have until literally New Year's Eve, and that sale's done.
Yeah.
So now is the time. If that board didn't rock up under the Christmas tree, this is the time to get it. Because
yeah, you won't get a price as cheap as this for all the boards that we're offering.
That's it.
It's going to go back.
And
Merry Christmas, mate.
Merry Christmas.
What are you doing for Chrissy?
Oh, I'm hanging out with my parents, drinking beers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's about it. Might take a board up.
Yeah.
My dad's actually got a board, so
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some waves in, doing some surfing. Looking forward to Boxing Day test match. I'll be having leftover ham, potato salad, having a few beers and watching the test match. It's going to be sick. Yeah, I want to do nothing. I just want to not do much.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be good weather, which I don't think we've had the last couple of years.
No,
So-
it's been either hot or floods.
Keen. Well, all the best. And
Yeah, mate.
see you in the new year.
Happy days.